Oh, hello YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, we are going over my most anticipated releases for the rest of 2023. Can you believe it is already June? It is already June. This year is half over, and a lot of really great releases came out in the first half of the year. But hey, we still got a whole other half of 2023 left. There are a lot more books coming out the rest of the year. These are my top 15 books I am the most excited for, and I say that because I have pre-ordered all of them. So let's get into what I am vibing with for the rest of the year. Coming out on July 18th, I have Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Silvia Moreno-Garcia is one of my favorite horror authors. She doesn't always write horror, but when she does, ooh, they're spooky. She writes, oh, the ambiance she creates in her books is incredible. So Silver Nitrate in particular, it takes place in the 90s in Mexico. We're following Montserrat. She is a young woman. She's a sound editor, but mind you, the sound industry is kind of a boys' club. She's often overlooked. She's been in love with her best friend Tristan, who's kind of like a fading soap opera star or a telenovela star since they were kids, and he's never really noticed her because, mind you, she's part of this boys club. Right now this sounds like a rom-com, but it's gonna take a turn because Tristan realizes that his neighbor is this cult horror director, Abel Yeruda. I don't know, then we get into this weird sorcery aspect of the story where it's gonna get dark and spooky because Abel basically, he starts talking about this Nazi sorcerer who imbued this silver nitrate film with magic, and then Abel never got to finish the film, and that's why he's cursed. So he's like, hey, you two, my new friends, my neighbors, help me film this last scene of the movie and then my curse will be gone. And they're like, okay. You should never say okay to that, right? They're like, hey, help me lift a Nazi curse. And you're like, oh, why am I getting myself into this, But then we wouldn't have a book here. So they get into it, and then from there, spooky things start happening, obviously. So either way, I think this is going to be so atmospheric. It's going to be so spooky. I don't know. I didn't even need to know what it was about. I just saw Silvia Moreno-Garcia was putting out a new book, and I was like, yep, pre-ordering it, have to have it. Coming out July 25th, I have Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. This is the latest book in this Red Rising saga, and we have been waiting for 4 years for a new book to come out. It's been a hot minute. So the last book in the series, Dark Age, was a lot of a book. It's called Dark Age for a reason, and a lot of our favorite characters are left in very, very precarious situations at the end of Dark Age, and we've been waiting 4 years to figure out what the fuck is gonna happen to them. It's been a while. And mind you, this is book 6 in the saga, so I'm not even gonna get into everything that's happened in it because frankly it's a lot, but it's in space, and humans have evolved into different classifications and stuff, and it's a whole Civil War type of thing. And it was the dark age of this new republic, and now Lightbringer. We've been following this character Darrow the whole time. And Darrow was known as the Reaper, which is what, the revolution needed. But now the revolution has evolved into something else. Do they still need the Reaper, or do they need Darrow to be Darrow? So I think it's also about identity. It's about, all of the war stuff that we have going on here. And hopefully things are taking a turn for the best, but realistically it's still gonna be a hard road ahead. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but yeah, we've been waiting for a long time, and a lot of these characters were in very precarious positions last time we saw them, and I need to know what happens next. It's been long enough. And I love this series. So yeah, I'm super excited about this one. Obviously, I pre-ordered it the second I could, and I'm just waiting impatiently for the day I get this book. Coming out August 1st, I have Tastes Like Shakar by Nisha Sharma. This is the sequel to Dating Dr. Dill, and I loved that one. So I was like, oh, pre-order immediately as soon as the next book in the series comes out. I need it. Basically, these are contemporary rom-coms set in the Desi community, and also they are loosely based around Shakespearean comedies. Dating Dr. Dill is very much a Taming of the Shrew type of adaptation, but more so Taming of the Shrew via 10 Things I Hate About You adaptation. And tastes like Shakar, this one in particular, we're going into Much Ado About Nothing. So this one is featuring Bobby and Bunty, and we've met them both in the previous book. Bobby, she is a event planner, a wedding planner. She is planning Karina's wedding. Karina was the main heroine from the first book, her wedding to her love interest. She's planning the wedding. And then Bunty is the best man, and he is a chef, and she's like, hey, will you help plan the menu? Mind you, these two butt heads quite a bit. And this might not be the best idea because, you know, there's already a lot of stress involved, and then you're putting yourself in close contact to a person that you constantly butt heads with. Like, it's gonna end one of two ways. One, you both are gonna quit and hate each other, or two, you're just gonna bang the bejesus out of each other. And this book, I'm pretty sure they're taking option number 2. And there's a lot of other things going on here as well. I think someone is also trying to sabotage the wedding, and they have to find the saboteur. And it's, you know, it's very Shakespearean, the whole Much Ado About Nothing kind of vibe there. But I'm into it. I want to see what happens next. I really, really enjoyed Dating Dr. Dill. I pre-ordered this one as soon as I could because I want to continue on with these characters. I like them very much. And I think there's going to be at least one more book in this series. And whatever it is, I'm probably going to pre-order it too. Coming out August 8th, I have Cruel Seduction by Katie Robert. This is the next release in this Dark Olympus series. And I'm pretty sure everyone on my channel is probably familiar with Katie Robert, but she writes incredibly spicy, smutty romances. And this series in particular is kind of reimagining the Greek gods. It's somewhat modern day, but they're still in like Olympus, and there's still like a real world. However, like Olympus pretty much functions like the real world. It's a weird world building here, but like, I'm not here for world building, I'm here for smut. So here we go. And this one is a poly relationship, and it's Aphrodite and Hephaestus, and they're gonna throw in Pandora and Adonis. So we have a 4-person quadruple. I'm not sure. I know a thruple is 3 people. What is it, quadruple? Whatever. There's 4 people in this relationship. I feel like the Greek myth of like Aphrodite, Hephaestus, we know that myth. It's been out for a minute. They never really wanted to marry each other. They get forced to marry each other. It's not the best marriage. And I think this is how it starts here, where they're like, all right, fine. Well, I'm gonna like seduce your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. And they're like, okay. And then it backfires because then all of them like each other. And now they're in this like big group relationship. So it's just, there's going to be so many iterations of smut in here that I can't even imagine. I'm just going to need to read it to find out. The books also have other things going on rather than smut. They also have cool characters. Sometimes they have action, they have mystery, and it's all based around like Greek mythology. So I really like the series. I'm pre-ordering whatever else comes out in it. I know there's like a few more books planned for the rest of the series. Every time they come available for pre-order, I'm gonna pre-order them. That's just how my life is right now, and it's gonna stay that way. So here we go. Cruel Seduction, very excited about it. Coming out August 22nd, I have Knockout by Sarah McLean. This is the 3rd book of the Hell's Bells series. I'm obsessed with this series. It's historical romance, but it's some of the best I've read, especially like if you like Tessa Dare. This series is gonna be great for you. It's funny, it's got quirky characters, and it's sexy too. So it's got all those Tessa Dare elements that I really like. So it's been scratching that itch for me until I get a new Tessa Dare book. So the Hell's Bells basically are this group of women, and they have a goal of sticking it to bad guys. Like, oh, you're this evil man, we're gonna stick it to you. That's their plan. And usually this involves, you know, lots of explosions and prison breakouts. It's not just like, oh, we're gonna be dainty. It's like, no, they're getting into some shit here. There's some shenanigans happening. This time in particular, we're following Imogen. Imogen is their like explosive expert. Well, I'm gonna say expert, why not? Not all explosions go great. Has she burned off a couple eyebrows? Probably. But Imogen, she's just like a little bit of an oddball, and we love her. And her love interest is Thomas Peck. He's a very beleaguered detective who has to deal with the Hell's Bells and their chaos they have put all over London for too long. So he's just always having a rough morning. He's that detective archetype. And now there's a new case happening that really brings him into Imogen's orbit. Mind you, he was already kind of into Imogen, but he's like, no, this is chaos. But then he's like, maybe I like chaos. It's one of those type of situations. I have been dying for this book. They're the perfect pairing. I'm so excited. And I think there's only one more book left in this series. Just one more. And I'm like, oh no, I just wanted to keep going. Maybe they'll bring more Hell's Bells in and it can keep going. Who knows? But I really, really love this series. It is funny and spunky, action-packed, smutty, historical romance. I highly recommend, if you haven't started reading the series, to check it out. More historical romance coming out on August 22nd. I have An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reed. Stacey Reed is another one of my historical romance catnip authors. I will pre-order anything that she puts out. They're great. However, this one, I'm like, I don't know, it depends. I trust Stacey Reed to do a good job, but like the premise worries me a little bit. Basically, we have Georgiana. She isn't really part of the nobility. She's just a gentleman's daughter. So she is catering this yacht party for the Earl of Stannis. However, there's this misunderstanding. She ends up getting fired and she is pissed. And then, wouldn't you know, the Earl of Stannis gets pulled out of whatever, body of water his yacht party's on, and they pull him to shore and he has no memory of what had happened to him or who he is. It's like one of those Overboard. It's Overboard by historical romance. But anyway, so Earl of Stannis, he's like, I don't know who I am. Hey, that girl over there looks a little bit familiar, and it's Georgiana. And she's like, I'm his wife. And then she has to like pretend to be his wife. And she's like, okay, this is a great idea, Georgiana. You're a genius. This is a brilliant plan. I'm going to have the Earl of Stannis work off his debt to me while he thinks he's my husband. This is a great idea. It's really not, because now you have a husband that you have to deal with. And, of course, romance happens between them. The Earl of Stannis is going to start remembering, his life and that he's not married to her eventually. But in between, forgetting and remembering, there's going to be a lot of hijinks. So I trust like Stacey Reed to write a story like this, and I will find it enjoyable. But like the premise is like a little yikes if we're being honest. But I trust Stacey Reed. I'm excited to read this one. Coming out September 5th, I have A Shot in the Dark by Victoria Lee. Now, I love Victoria Lee as an author, so I'm going to pre-order whatever they put out. Victoria Lee normally writes like kind of maybe spooky, sci-fi, those type of books. They wrote A Lesson in Vengeance, which made one of my top books of the year list. I love that book. And A Shot in the Dark is a very different book for Victoria Lee. It's a departure. This one is kind of like contemporary drama romance. And I just got it because Victoria Lee wrote it. It's not really a book I think I would have picked up on my own if I didn't already like the author. Not that I don't think the story is good. I don't know. I'm more into comedy than drama, but I'm going to trust the author to write something new, and I just want to experience it. This one in particular is a love story between a transgender man named Wyatt and a ex-Orthodox woman named Ellie. And both of them seem to have struggled with sobriety in the past, and they're both in the art world, and it's one of those accidental hookups, oh no, you're actually my teacher situations. I think they hook up in a club, and then Ellie shows up for class with Wyatt, who's like her favorite photographer, and like in comes the guy she slept with last night, and she's like, oh shit. One of those stories. But when you throw in all of like the baggage of their past, plus their struggles with sobriety, I'm assuming this is going to be much more of a dramatic story than like a funny rom-com where it's like, whoopsie, we had sex on accident and now it's awkward. I think this is going to be like that plus drama. So I'm trusting Victoria Lee to write a good story that I'm going to enjoy. It's just not one I necessarily would have picked up right away because I don't see it as a comedy, but why not? I'm going to try it out. I'm excited for it. Coming out September 12th, I have My Rogue to Ruin by Erica Ridley. This one, I'm so excited for it. This is the next book in the Wild Winchester series. I have been loving this series so much. It's like a big misfit group of adopted siblings, and also they solve crimes. And like, you know, each one is kind of getting their own romance along the way. And this time we're dealing with Marjorie Winchester. So this one is kind of like a counterfeiting ring caper type of situation. And we have Lord Adrian. His father basically cuts him off without a penny, and he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll start like counterfeiting paintings to make money because like, man, fuck those guys. Like, who cares if they have real paintings? They suck anyway. That kind of vibe. And I'm like, all right, Lord Adrian, like, I kind of agree. And then someone starts trying to blackmail him, and he's like, oh no, I'm in trouble. Enter the Winchesters. And Marjorie, like, there's so many Winchesters, I'm forgetting which one everyone is right now, but I'm pretty sure that Marjorie is their counterfeiting expert. So like, takes one counterfeiter to know another. So she's on the case. They're trying to figure out who's behind this. And also they're going to grow closer along the way. And I really love this series mainly because the Misfit siblings, all of their antics, they get into zany, wild mystery adventures of trying to solve crimes. So it's fun, it's zany, it's funny, there's great characters. I will admit the smut level is up and down. Like sometimes it could be spicy and sometimes not very spicy. So it's kind of a mixed bag there. But I love this series. I love Erica Ridley. Another one of those ones I would say if you love Tessa Dare, try out Erica Ridley. You might like her too. Coming out September 26th. Hot damn, I am so excited about The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. This is a continuation of the Shades of Magic series. It's probably V.E. Schwab's like classic, most beloved series. And like, I'm just so pumped to get this because like so much happened in that trilogy. We're coming back to those worlds, plural, to try to figure out what's going on now, what's happened after the events of that book. And things are a-brewin'. Mind you, this is book 4 in this saga, so I'm not going to get into everything that's going on here, but basically there's multiple realities kind of all stacked on top of each other. And the key point in all 4 of these realities is London. And there are very rare people called Antari, and they have the ability to travel between the dimensions. And I don't want to give like spoilers for the whole trilogy because like there's a lot that happens there, but basically we're coming back to these characters X amount of years later. What's going on now? Perhaps there's new people in royal positions and they're trying to figure out how to keep their crown and their head. And also we're throwing in some new characters. There's gonna be some wild cards thrown in there. Mainly we're all super interested in seeing Kel and Delilah Bard back again, our 2 favorite Antari. And what kind of adventures have they been getting up to? We all know Delilah really wanted to be a pirate. So I am just really excited for this one. I mean, that series is so dense and such amazing world building. If you haven't read it, check it out. It's pretty good. And then we have a new book in that series coming out in September. I'm assuming this will be another trilogy, but yes, super excited about this one. Coming out September 26th, I have The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Mahurin. And this is another continuation trilogy. I feel like 2023 is the year of continuation trilogies. This is the new trilogy after the Serpent and Dove trilogy, which I loved, except we're following a new main character who was in all 3 of the original books and has a lot of character growth from how she started to how she finishes that like trilogy is a lot of difference. So now we're taking up with Sealy, and she has, you know, changed into a new person. We're still in this world of Belterra where there are witches and witch hunters, and things are afoot. I don't really want to get into a lot of it again because it is a continuation trilogy. A lot happened in the Serpent and Dove trilogy, but Sealy, she starts off like the princess kind of character, and by the end of that trilogy, she's the warrior character. So I am interested to see what's going to happen next. There's going to be a lot of like spooky things afoot and witches and like danger, and I'm way into it. I'm very excited for this trilogy. Coming out on October 3rd, we have Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey's one of those auto-buy authors for me for the most part. She writes fun, contemporary romance with like tons of smut. If you want a smutty delight, this is the author for you. In Wreck the Halls, obviously this is going to be a holiday romance coming out a little early for the holidays, but it gives you plenty of time to have it for the holidays. So maybe there's method to this madness here. But we're following Melody and Beat. We're gonna get into those names in a second here. But basically their mothers were in this like very popular rock band together, and there's this infamous feud between them, and they broke up the band and it broke up their friendship and all that kind of stuff. And now they live very opposite lives until this producer comes up to, you know, Melody one day. He's like, hey, I will give you sacks of money if you get the band back together. So she's like, I do like sacks of money. So she and Beat kind of have to team up to get their mothers back together, get the band back together in order to get these big sacks of money. And along the way, I'm also assuming they're gonna just bang the bejesus out of each other. So I'm very excited about this one. It's gonna be zany. It's gonna be holiday adventures in here. Rock band antics. I'm feeling it's gonna be like a feud a la Fleetwood Mac, where it's like, yikes, you guys shouldn't be in a band together. But I'm very excited for this one. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be smutty. It's gonna have holiday stuff in it. I'm already in. Here, take my money. Coming out on October 10th, we have Sword Catcher by Cassandra Clare. This is Cassandra Clare's first foray into a definitely adult fantasy book. She's always written, you know, YA, although leaning towards new adult, so I don't think it's too big of a stretch for her to go straight into adult fantasy. And I'm excited for this one. It's like a completely different world for Cassandra Clare, which is nice because she's written all Shadowhunter books. Like, there's so many of them that we're finally going into a brand new world without Shadowhunters in it. How is this gonna work? And this one is gonna have misfits, it's gonna have like criminal underbelly, it's gonna have forbidden love, like all the things that kind of are bread and butter in Cassandra Clare works. And in this one in particular, we're following Kel. He was like this orphan kid, got plucked up off the streets as a child because, oh boy, is he a spitting image of the crown prince. And his sole job in life is to be a literal sword catcher. It's his job to body double the prince and catch a sword if someone tries to kill the prince. That's his whole thing he's been trained to do. Not a great profession, really. And then you have Lynn. She's one of the few people in this world who have magical abilities, although they're like highly regulated and stuff. And then she needs like this forbidden knowledge to be able to heal her friend. So she's like, I gotta go get this. And then, you know, like criminal plots kind of force Cal and Lynn together, and then they have to have like forbidden love and like, uh-oh, there's conspiracy afoot, that kind of whole vibe going on here. And like, I think it's gonna be good. I mean, it's Cassandra Clare. I don't think it's gonna be bad. I would be surprised if I thought it was bad, but I'm excited for it. Let's go. Like, it's like a brand new world without Shadowhunters. I want to see what Cassandra Clare's world building is like in a world that she hasn't already established yet. So let's go. Let's do this. I'm excited. Coming out November 17th, I have Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This one is kind of a prequel to Legends and Lattes, which I loved. If you like cozy books about, you know, like a coffee shop and like adorable misfit people who run the coffee shop and like, you know, cozy romance, but you also really like D&D, like this is the series for you. We're following Viv in particular. She is a warrior orc, and she's injured in battle with her mercenary crew, and she gets sent to this little town to recuperate. But she spends most of her time in this like quaint little bookshop and like finding out what coffee is for the first time, meeting like zany friends in this little town, and all of this coalesces into her moving away out of her mercenary past and going to open up her own little coffee shop in, you know, Legends and Lattes. We're gonna get to that later. This is kind of the prequel to it. And I mean, I love it. It's a cozy kind of bookshop, coffee house vibe, but you know, with orcs and like D&D aspects. So it's hard to describe to have it really make sense, but it's really cute and fun and like fantasy-esque. It's like a cozy fantasy. I'll say that. Coming out on November 16th, I have System Collapse by Martha Wells. This is the next book in the Murderbot series. And I know the word Murderbot makes it sound like this is going to be very violent. And it can be, but really it's more like cozy. So basically there is this robot android type of character, and they call themselves Murderbot. Mind you, they don't do a lot of murdering. Really, all Murderbot wants to do is just be left alone to be able to watch their favorite TV shows. They're just trying to chill. But the world won't let Murderbot chill. And there's a lot of evil corporations in this world and space and stuff. And Murderbot has made friends with this group of people that are actually good and altruistic in this world, which Murderbot doesn't find a lot of, because Murderbot, has been enmeshed in a lot of corporations they've never met a corporation that wasn't at least a little bit evil. And they're coming up against this new corporation trying to do evil things or trying to stop them, and Murderbot's system parameters aren't functioning the same way they used to. So Murderbot has to figure out what's wrong with themselves, and they have to save the day and protect these colonists from this evil corporation. Honestly, all you had to do is tell me the series is called Murderbot, and yes, take my money, here you go. But there's several other books in the series that are already out, and I absolutely love this series, so I can't wait for November. I'm so excited. Last up on my anticipated reads list, coming out November 28th, is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. This is the sequel to A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, which I adored. I thought it was so cute, so fun. I pre-ordered the next book in the series immediately, and this one is featuring Caladia and Astaroth. We met them both in the first book, and they're very much opposites. With a name like Astaroth, one has to assume demon, right? So demon and Caladia, witch. They did not have a great first encounter with each other at the end of the first book. She literally punched him into another city. So not the best start to a romance. But, Caladia often does good deeds and stuff. And one time she stops this guy from getting attacked by a demon. She, saves the guy, looks at him. She's like, oh shit, Astaroth? And he's like, I don't know who I am. Who are you? You're hot. Can I hang out with you? So it's one of those stories. Astaroth, he had things happen to him. I don't want to get too spoilery here. But he has forgotten who he is, and he's banished to the human world, and he's like, I don't know anybody but you, lady. And she's like, hey, I don't want to be your person you follow. And he's like, too bad, you showed me human kindness. I'm your problem now. And then I think eventually they kind of have a romance with each other, and there's gonna be drama involved as well. But I'm into it. I think it's gonna be fun. At least I love the first book enough that I immediately pre-ordered book 2. So I'm just excited for zany antics, a dash of smut, and it's just gonna be a cute, funny story. It's gonna be a comfort read, book candy, however you want to call it. All right, so that was my complete list of all of the rest of the books I have officially pre-ordered for the rest of 2023. As of right now, who knows, maybe I'll pre-order some more things, but for right now, this is it. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you most hyped up about for the rest of 2023? What books are on your radar? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want cool exclusive content, including early access to videos and a book club, you can consider becoming a channel member or a patron. Links for that are in the description down below. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.